12 News at 10 starts now.
Tonight, a Valley hospital needs your help identifying a patient so he can be back with his loved ones. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Kariba Devine. The patient has been in the hospital for months now after he was seriously hurt to the point where he can't even communicate with staff or police. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us live in Phoenix with what we know about this unusual case. Chase?
We're told that patient has been sitting inside Banner University Medical Center since January. Health officials there are telling us that police have exhausted all methods in trying to identify him.
We only know him as John Doe, a Hispanic man believed to be in his 20s who was brought to the hospital on January 12th. Banner Health says he was near 27th Avenue and Buckeye Road when he was hit by a car. When he arrived to Banner University in downtown Phoenix, staff said he had no ID on him. His injury so severe, he had to be placed on life support. Now he is stable, but his brain injury prevents him from being able to communicate with anyone. For months, Banner and Phoenix police tried to figure out who this was, but said they have exhausted all efforts. Retired Phoenix Police Commander Jeffrey Hines, who has more than 3 decades of experience, explains the process.
The normal checks on somebody is fingerprints, the database system, both state and national, and that's usually where it stops.
But this one didn't turn up anything. Hines says that's when police usually expand their search.
Hopefully, they've done facial recognition, national database system. They've gone into and looked at the DNA national database system, and they've also explored some of the private sites that are out there as well.
However, Hines said if the man came in from outside the country, that would make it much more difficult to identify him.
Somebody came across the border illegally. There may not be any records on any of those data sources that I just mentioned. And in that case, the picture distribution sounds like a wonderful avenue.
Which is why after all this time, Banner released photos of their patient, including identifying tattoos like this one of a woman, a large open pocket watch on his forearm, and one that reads, "One life, one chance" on his side, hoping this man's family or loved ones will recognize him so they can be reunited once again.
The family is missing a relative for 4 months. They're beside themselves, trying to locate and try to find him.
Now, I did reach out to Phoenix Police to find out what methods they were using to identify this John Doe. I also reached out to Banner Health to find out if no one comes forward to identify this person, what's going to happen to him. I heard back from both saying they are working on getting us those answers. In the meantime, if you do recognize him from any of those photos, you are encouraged to contact Banner Health immediately. We're live in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase. Well, those photos are pretty clear, so hopefully they'll get some leads from that. All right, Chase, thank you so much. Well, developing tonight, we continue to track 3 separate plane crashes that happened across the state, including one that took 2 lives. Let's begin just north of Tucson, where police say a small aircraft crashed at the Marana Regional Airport. We're told that the plane caught fire when it crashed. Police say that 2 people on board died. We're still waiting to learn more details. The NTSB is investigating. Meanwhile, in Cave Creek, a student pilot and his flight instructor are recovering after their plane flipped over while emergency landing. It happened just before 11 this morning near 39th Street and Carefree Highway. The people on board were able to get themselves out, and they are both now listed in stable condition. The FAA and the NTSB are now leading the investigation. And today, officials in northern Arizona released this image of a plane that crashed into a home in the small town of Fort Mojave that is located north of Lake Havasu. We're told the plane crashed just before noon yesterday. No one inside the home was hurt. However, 2 people that were flying the plane were taken to a local hospital. The investigation has been turned over to the FAA. Tonight, we're getting a first look at the unofficial results for the closely watched SRP election. For the first time, a majority of the SRP Power Board will be held by renewable energy advocates. 12 News journalist Tiani Jadalang is joining us now in studio with those results. And Tiani, this is getting a lot of buzz.
Kariba, SRP's energy and water board elections do not typically get a lot of attention. But this year, big financial investments by a powerful political organization, Turning Point Action, raises stakes in this election. The long lines on Tuesday were proof that this was no typical SRP election.
We have seen an increased interest in our elections this year. This year we have sent out 56,000 early ballot requests for our district, as well as 56,000 early ballots for our water side.
Wednesday night, SRP releasing results that will be a surprise upset for many. The 14-member district board sets energy policy. Based on preliminary results, pro-renewable candidates won 5 seats. Add to that 3 seats they already hold, they would have an 8-6 majority. 2 Turning Point candidates did win the president and vice president positions, which oversee the board and set meeting agendas. Environmental groups funded their slate of candidates, and a PAC run by activist Jane Fonda also got involved in the final weeks. Board member Randy Miller also ran on the renewable energy team.
We don't really want to see, outside influence coming into Arizona. It's one of those things where, all of us use electricity, all of us drink water. We all need to be able to breathe clean air, and we need to be able to drink water.
Turning Point made it clear this election was a priority for 2 reasons: to defeat green energy projects and to build a voter base for the upcoming general election. Tyler Boyer of Turning Point Action tells 12 News, quote, "Radical environmentalist groups have been targeting these positions for many years. It was really important to turn out." Boyer said he considers the election results a win for Turning Point. The SRP election is not like others. It involved voting districts across the Phoenix metro area, and only property owners were eligible to vote. The newly elected members will likely be taking votes down the road about demands from data centers, solar policies, and how to meet SRP's existing energy goals. SRP rates overall remain low compared to other utilities, but SRP has taken criticism from the rooftop solar industry for raising rooftop customer rates higher than non-rooftop rates in data centers. We will learn more specifics about voter turnout once a canvass makes results official next Monday. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadling, 12 News.
All right, Tiani, thank you. A man has been sentenced for a shooting that caused a massive police response at a Tempe resort last year. 35-year-old Jesus Enriquez Gonzalez was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison after pleading guilty last month. Police say that Gonzalez fired at a passing vehicle on I-10 before running through the parking lot of Tempe Diablo Stadium and then into the Tempe Buttes Resort. That's where he shot at 2 employees and then tried to carjack a mother and child. Tempe police arrested him in the parking lot after the shooting. Tonight, Glendale firefighters are praising a family for taking a critical step to protect their home during a house fire. Officials say that a car caught fire near 59th Avenue in Missouri around 3 this afternoon. The fire then spread to a home. Despite extensive damage, fire crews say that it could have been a lot worse.
North side of the house and the bedrooms there were spared because the bedroom doors were actually closed. So it's just a helpful reminder that if you're leaving your house, close your doors. At nighttime, close your doors. It will save a house and it will save a life.
Glendale Fire is still investigating a cause. They say that the family inside was not hurt, but they will be temporarily out of their home. New at 10, a Valley family is now home with their newborn after a life-threatening pregnancy scare. But a fetal care center in Arizona made all the difference. 12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is joining us now in studio with this story. Maria?
Caribe, that's right. Before this program existed, families had to travel out of state for this kind of care. And many parents don't know this is even an option, let alone right here in Arizona.
What do you see?
Moments like these aren't taken for granted because Mayela Campos knows just how quickly everything can change.
Being able to hold him and know that he's here with us, I just feel very grateful because he could have not made it.
At 20 weeks pregnant, doctors found a large cyst growing on her baby's kidney.
My heart dropped.
The cyst filled his abdomen, pushing his organs out of place and pressing up into his chest.
It was pretty scary because we just didn't know if the baby was going to be okay or not.
2 weeks later, it had doubled in size. Dr. Ken Lichty, a fetal and pediatric surgeon at Banner University Medical Center in Tucson, warned it could affect his ability to breathe. So he gave Mayela her options: wait it out or undergo surgery before her baby was even born.
I didn't know anything like this could be done until we met with Dr. Lichty up in Tucson.
A procedure so specialized, it's only available in a handful of places across the country.
There's fewer than 20 full-service fetal care centers in the United States that offer the full range of interventions before birth or around the time of birth to families. You know, no one wants to have surgery on their unborn baby, and so to have that kind of resource here it makes a tremendous difference.
Right away, I was just like, okay, let's go with what he says.
2 days later, she underwent the procedure. Surgeons placed a small shunt to drain the cyst, relieving the pressure on her baby's organs. And just months later, baby Julian was born, crying, breathing, and healthy.
He's for sure my miracle baby.
A second chance Mayela never knew was possible.
I know a lot of people were like, don't spoil baby, don't spoil baby, but I don't think they knew what I went through. I try to spoil him as much as I can.
Now, doctors say Julian's right kidney is not functioning because of the cyst, but his left kidney is strong and fully capable of supporting him. They expect him to live a normal, healthy life. Live in studio, Maria Stubbs, 12 News.
These doctors are miracle workers. All right, Maria, thank you so much.